have faith in the wisdom and the decency of the American people. I have faith that you see this for what it is, and that's why we have to have these conversations. This can't just be something we watch on the news and then forget. We have to stay engaged. We have to stay watching is unfolding. We've got a newly elected representative, a Democrat named Adelita Grijalva, who was chosen by the people of her district to go to Washington to represent their voices. That's how our system works, right? We vote. Our votes are counted, and our chosen representatives go to work for us. But here's the rub. She hasn't been sworn in. She's ready to serve. The people have spoken, but Speaker Mike Johnson up there in the House of Representatives is, well, he's just not doing it. He's holding things up now. Why would he do that? Why would anyone stand in the way of a community, say, being heard in the halls of power? It's a question that cuts to the very heart of what we believe America stands for. It's about more than just one seat. It's about whether our democracy, our very foundation, is truly working for all of us, or if it's being used for political gamesmanship. And let me tell you, when I see things like this, it stirs something deep inside me, a feeling that we as Americans deserve so much better. Now, this isn't just some backroom squabble. This is serious business. So serious, in fact, that the Attorney General of Arizona has stepped in, and they've done something pretty extraordinary. They filed a lawsuit. Think about that for a moment. A state's top legal officer is taking the Speaker of the House to court. They're saying loud and clear that Speaker Johnson is deliberately delaying Adelita Grijalva's swearing in. And why the suit suggests it's all about maintaining a slim majority for some crucial votes coming up in a House where every single vote counts, where the balance of power is razor thin, and empty seat can make all the difference. It's like playing a basketball game, and one team decides to keep an opponent's best player off the court even though they rightfully earned their spot. It's an attempt to tilt the scales, to manipulate the outcome, not through fair debate and persuasion, by simply sidelining a democratically elected voice. And for me, that's not just a political tactic. It's a profound disrespect for the voters, for the citizens who cast their ballots, expecting their choices to be honored. We've seen this kind of maneuvering before, this push and pull, but rarely does it reach the point where a state has to sway the federal government to ensure its citizens are represented. This isn't an isolated incident, my friends. This kind of political brinkmanship, this constant struggle for power at the expense of common sense and fairness, it's a symptom of something larger happening across our nation. We see it in how basic functions of government sometimes grind to a halt, and we see it in the way that instead of finding common ground, some leaders seem intent on drawing lines in the sand, making compromise feel like a dirty word. This situation in Arizona, where a duly elected representative is being kept from her post, IT echoes other moments when the will of the people has felt at best delayed and at worst ignored. It makes you wonder, doesn't it, what happened to the idea that public service is about serving all the public, not just your own party? What happened to the fundamental respect for the democratic process itself? Because when you chip away at that, when you start making exceptions for political gain, you chip away at the very trust that holds our society together, and without that trust, without that belief that the rules apply to everyone, that every vote truly matters, well, then we're on a very slippery slope indeed. Now, I've always believed in the power of the American people, in their good judgment, and in their ability to rise above these kinds of divisions, but we also have to be clear-eyed about what's happening. When you see a speaker, someone who holds a position of immense responsibility, being accused of holding an empty seat hostage, it speaks to a certain approach to leadership. It speaks to a strategy that prioritizes partisan advantage over the basic principle of representation. And let me tell you, that's a dangerous game, because when you start to think that the rules only apply when they benefit you, or that you can simply ignore the democratic outcomes you don't like, That's when things really start to fray. It's not just about what this means for Adelita Grijalva, though her story is important. It's about what it means for every single one of us, because if they can do this to a representative in Arizona, what stops them from doing something similar elsewhere? What stops them from finding new ways to silence voices they don't want to hear? This is a moment where the spotlight needs to be shown brightly, and we need to ask ourselves, is this the kind of democracy we want? But here's the thing, and this is what gives me hope, what always has given me hope about America. There are still people fighting the good fight. In this very situation, you had the Arizona Attorney General standing up, taking on a powerful figure in Washington because they believe in the fundamental right of the people to be represented. They believe that the rules matter, that the Constitution means something, and Tata State's voice shouldn't be sidelined for political convenience. And then you have Adelita Grijalva herself waiting patiently but resolutely to take her rightful place. These are the kinds of leaders, the kinds of public servants who truly have your interests at heart. They understand that their job is to uphold the principles of our democracy, to ensure that every citizen's vote counts and that every community has a voice. This isn't about party, it's about principle. It's about recognizing that we are all in this together and that the strength of our nation comes from respecting each other, respecting our institutions, and respecting the sacred act of voting. We deserve leaders who see themselves as stewards of democracy, not as gatekeepers of power. Let's be very clear about what this means on a human level. This isn't just a number, just one empty seat in a chamber of 435. This is a district full of people, hundreds of thousands of Americans, who currently have no voice in Congress. Think about that. If you live in that district and you have a problem with your Social Security or your veterans benefits, or you need help cutting through red tape for your small business, who do you call? Your representative's office is dark. Your voice is missing from the debate on the budget, on healthcare, on our future. You are, in effect, being disenfranchised. And all because, as the lawsuit alleges, one man in Washington has decided that his political calendar, his need to win a vote, is more important than your constitutional right to representation. That's what should make your blood boil. It's a profound disrespect. It's telling an entire community that their choice, their votes, their needs, they just don't matter as much as partisan strategy. That is not the America I know. And it is not the America we should ever accept. Now, this lawsuit by the Arizona Attorney General, this is where the suspense really builds. This is a rare and remarkable moment. A state is essentially rebelling against the leadership of the House. They're taking this fight to the courts, creating a constitutional showdown. The question the court has to answer is a fundamental one. Does the Speaker of the House have the absolute power to simply ignore the certified results of an election? Can they just put a closed sign on the door off a duly elected representative for as long as they want? Or does the Constitution, which guarantees representation, override that this is uncharted territory? We are all waiting, holding our breath, to see how the judiciary responds to this. Will they step in and order the Speaker to do his job? Or will they say, this is a political question that the courts can't solve? The very balance of power is on the line. It's a state standing up for its people against what it sees as power grab in Washington, and it's happening right now. And folks, we have to see this as part of a larger troubling pattern. This isn't happening in a vacuum. This strategy, this willingness to bend or even break the sacred rules of our democracy for short-term political gain, it's something we're seeing more and more. It's the same kind of thinking that leads to partisan gerrymandering, where politicians draw maps so convoluted that they get to pick their voters instead of the other way around. It's the same impulse that leads to passing laws designed to make it harder for certain people to vote. It's a playbook. And the goal is always the same: to silence voices you don't agree with and to hold onto power at all costs. It's a leadership that fears a fair fight. It's a leadership that doesn't trust the American people to make their own choices. When you start down that road, when you decide that the will of the people is just an obstacle to be managed, you are betraying the very idea of this great country. You know, in my time, I've learned a thing or two about leadership, and I've learned that real strength isn't about using your power to stop someone else from speaking. It's not about finding loopholes or playing games to get your way. That's not strength. That's weakness. It's an admission that you're afraid that if every voice is heard, if every vote is counted, you might not win the argument. True strength, the kind of strength our country desperately needs, is what we see from Congresswoman-elect Grijalva. She is standing with dignity, ready to serve, backed by the people who elected her. Real strength is what we see from the Arizona Attorney General, who is unafraid to challenge a powerful speaker, not for a party, but for a principle. The principle that every single American deserves a voice in their own government. These are the leaders who have your interests at heart. They believe in our democracy enough to fight for it. So this is where we find ourselves. We are a great nation, a good people, but we are being let down by this kind of politics. We deserve better. You deserve better. You deserve leaders who see public service as a public trust, not a personal prize. You deserve leaders who are focused on solving your problems, not on scoring political points. You deserve a system that honors your vote, that respects your choice, and that includes every voice at the table. This isn't a Democratic idea or a Republican idea. This is the American idea. It's the foundation of everything we are, so we have to pay attention. We have to be engaged. We have to demand that our leaders, all of them, uphold the values of fairness, respect, and democracy. Because this country doesn't belong to any one person or any one party. It belongs to all of us, and we are the ones who have to protect it. Now, I know what some of you all might be thinking. You're busy. You've got groceries to buy, kids to get to school. You got work on your mind and bills piling up. You might hear all this and say, Barack, this is just politics. That's wobbling in Washington. What does this really have to do with my life? And I'm here to tell you it has everything to do with your life. It's about the very promise that holds this country together. That promise is simple: when you show up, when you do your duty as a citizen and cast your ballot, that vote counts. It means something, but what we're seeing here is an attempt to put a little asterisk on that promise. A footnote that says your vote counts unless it's inconvenient for the people in power. Unless it messes up our political math, that is not a footnote any of us can afford to accept. If they can silence a representative from Arizona, they are sending a message that your voice, your vote, can also be sidelined when it matters most. This isn't a distant game. It's a test of the very value of your participation. And this is what worries me most. This isn't just one person making a bad call in a moment of pressure. It feels like part of a playbook that has become all too common, one that says win at all costs. It's a playbook that sees our democracy not as a shared inheritance, something precious we all have to protect, but as a battlefield where you do whatever it takes to gain one more inch. We see this playbook when they draw convoluted maps to pick their own voters. We see it when they pass laws to make it harder for folks to register or to cast a ballot. We see it when they spread misinformation to try and confuse and divide us. And now we are seeing it in the halls of Congress, where a certified election, a voice chosen by the people, is being put on hold. This isn't about one vote. It's about a growing cynicism, willingness to tear down the rules just to get a temporary win. And let me tell you, those temporary wins come at a very, very high price: our trust in each other and our faith in the system itself. But in the middle of this cynicism, we also see what real leadership looks like. We see it in Avelita Grijalva. She's not out there trying to tear the system down. She is standing with poise, with dignity, waiting to do the job the people of her district sent her to do. She's showing respect for the institution of Congress, even when its leadership isn't showing respect for her. Her consequence. And we see it in the Arizona Attorney General. This AG isn't trying to start a fight just for the sake of fighting. They are using the tools of our democracy, the courts, the rule of law, to defend democracy. That's the difference. One side is trying to bend the rules to stop representation. The other side is using the rules to protect representation. That's the choice. These are public servants who truly believe their job is to serve you, the public, not just their party. They have your interests at heart because they are fighting for your voice. You know, the story of America, the one that makes us a beacon to the world, it isn't a story about our perfection. We've always had our struggles. We've always had our deep divisions. No, the story of America is about our progress. It's about that long, hard, and often painful march toward a more perfect union, a union where we the people actually means all the people. This action by the Speaker, it feels like a step backward. It's a slide back toward an old, broken kind of politics where a powerful few get to decide whose voice matters and whose doesn't. That is not the future we want for our children. We want to teach our kids that in this country. If you work hard, if you play by the rules, and if you earn the trust of your neighbors, your voice will be heard. This situation tests that very lesson. It's a moment that asks us what we really believe. Do we believe in a system of fairness, or do we believe in power for its own sake? We deserve better. We deserve leaders trying to build that more perfect union, not pull it apart. So now all eyes turn to the courts. This isn't just some dry legal drama. This is a test of our democratic immune system. When something goes wrong, when someone overreaches, do our institutions have the strength to correct it? Can the rule of law stand up to raw political power? We are all waiting in suspense to see that answer. But while the lawyers make their arguments, our job, your job, doesn't stop. Our job is to watch. Our job is to stay informed. Our job is to speak out, not with hate, but with clarity, to let everyone in Washington know that we are paying attention and that we expect them to do the right thing, to honor the will of the people, because this isn't just about one empty seat in Arizona. This is about the integrity of our entire system. This is about whether we are, in fact, a nation of laws or just a nation of men. And the answer to that question will define us for a long time to come. Think about the office of the Speaker of the House. It's a position that's third in line to the presidency. It's not just the leader of a party, it's the leader of the People's House. It's an office that requires a deep, abiding respect for the institution and for the will of every American. When someone holds that gavel, they hold a sacred public trust. That trust is simple. You will ensure the machinery of our democracy works. You will ensure that when the people speak, their voices are heard. And what we are seeing, what the Arizona Attorney General is alleging in this lawsuit, is a profound and profoundly sad breach of that trust. This isn't just about shuffling papers or scheduling a ceremony. It's about the character of our leadership to see that high office, as the suit claims, used to deny representation to nearly 1 million Americans, to tell them, you must wait. Your voice must be silent because your new representative might vote in a way I don't like. Well, that's not just politics. That's a distortion of the job. It's a failure to uphold that sacred trust. And it's something that should concern every single one of us, regardless of whether you're a Democrat, a Republican, or an independent. This is what we call the erosion of norms. It's a term we use a lot in Washington, but what does it really mean? It means this. It means that the unwritten rules, the rules of basic fairness and decency that hold our democracy together, being chipped away one by one. Once you decide that it's okay to delay swearing in a duly elected member for political advantage. What comes next? What's to stop a future speaker from doing it for a month or 2 months? What's to stop them from holding an entire state's delegation hostage until they get what they want? This is that slippery slope. This is how democratic institutions begin to decay. It starts with one exception, one moment where we say, well, the stakes are just too high. We have to bend the rules this one time, but it's never just one time. This action, this delay, sets a new dangerous precedent. It tells every future leader that the raw exercise of power is more important than the plain, clear, certified results of an election. And that, my friends, is a dark path for our country to walk down. We have to demand that our leaders stop, turn around, and get back to the path of principle. I know when you see this, when you're sitting at home and you see the news flash across your screen, it's easy to get frustrated, it's easy to get cynical, and it's easy to just throw up your hands and say, that's Washington for you. It's all a game. But it's not a game for the people in Adelita Grijalva's district. This is real, as their Attorney General has pointed out. This is, in essence, taxation without representation. They are paying their taxes, they are living their lives, but they have no one to call when they need help with a veteran's benefit, no one to fight for them in the debates that are happening right now. This is Exhibit A for why so many Americans feel like the system is rigged. This is why you feel like your voice doesn't matter. Because in this moment, a leader in Washington is actively and in plain sight making a choice to make a voice not matter. We have to reject that cynicism. Your anger is justified, but we can't let that anger turn into apathy. We have to let it fuel our demand for something better. We have to insist loudly and clearly that we are not a nation that accepts this as normal. So what does better look like? It's not complicated. It's not some grand poetic idea. Better is simple. Better is a Speaker of the House who sees a certified election result from a state, picks up the phone and says, congratulations, welcome to Congress. When can we swear you in so you can get to work for your constituents? It's that simple. Better is respecting the choice of the voters, even, especially when they vote for the other side. Better is what we see in leaders like the Arizona Attorney General, who is not afraid to stand up to the powerful, not for politics, but for the plain text of the law and the rights of per state's citizens. Better is what we see in Adelita Grijalva, who has traveled to Washington, ready to serve, ready to do the people's work, embodying the very dignity and respect for the process that is so sorely lacking from the other side. This is the kind of leadership we should be celebrating, the kind that seeks to uphold the rules, not bend them, the kind that seeks to include voices, not silence them. That's the America we're fighting for. This right here is a test. It's a test of our institutions, it's a test of our courts, and it's a test for all of us. Are we going to be a nation where the will of the people can be held hostage by one person's political gains? Or are we going to be a nation that stands up for the simple, powerful idea that every vote counts and every voice deserves to be heard? I still have faith. I have always had faith in the wisdom and the decency of the American people. I have faith that you see this for what it is, and that's why we have to have these conversations. This can't just be something we watch on the news and then forget. We have to stay engaged. We have to stay watchful. We have to keep talking about this. So let me know what you think. What does this moment say to you about the state of our democracy? What does better look like to you? Drop your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. And if you believe, like I do, that we have to keep shining a light on these moments, that we have to demand better from our leaders, then like this video and subscribe to this channel, because our democracy isn't a spectator sport. It's a living, breathing thing, and it's on all of us to protect it.